com.
This Mixed TV interview is supplied by Wholesale Supply Group. Visit us online at wholesalesupply.us.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you today?
Well, I'm doing good. Apologize for the phone issues. Maybe you can introduce a bill to get us some more funding. That would be very nice, if you can.
Yeah,
Senator,
I hear you.
yeah, Senator, there's so much to talk about this morning, and apparently as Congress gets ready for the holidays, my goodness, a lot going on up there. I just want to begin, though. What did you make of your colleagues and the House of Representatives basically approving articles of impeachment against the president?
Well, they want to begin their inquiry, and to do that properly, it requires a vote of the body to move forward with the inquiry to build the body of evidence that they would take into an impeachment vote and then transfer that body to the Senate for the impeachment trial. So the vote to do the inquiry has begun, and of course they've been building the basis for this for the entire year. So they will go through their process of conducting that, and then at some point this spring, I imagine they will move forward with a vote of impeachment. So, sounds like it was a busy day over in the House.
It sounds like. We're joined by Senator Marsha Blackburn, live, of course, from the nation's capital. And then, obviously, President Biden's son, Hunter, shows up on the Hill, I guess holds a news conference. What do you think of that?
Well, he was to be there for a deposition, which is a standard process. If you're going to go through the process of conducting an inquiry, you do the deposition first. After you do the deposition, then you move to a formal hearing. When I chaired the Select Committee on Infant Lives and looked at what was happening with the selling of baby body parts and what was happening with big abortion, what I did was first bring people forward for a deposition that was a closed-door process, and we received the information, and then we moved it later, a few weeks later, we would do a public hearing. So Hunter Biden does not like this process. Of course, now Joe Biden had said that people that would deny a congressional subpoena should be prosecuted, and this was in relation to what happened on January 6th. But now it appears that the Bidens have changed their mind and think that it's a good thing to deny a congressional subpoena.
We're joined by Senator Marsha Blackburn, and so just really bouncing around here because there's like I said, so much happening. So I read this morning that now I'm going to move to the Ukraine funding issue, which I guess is now in some ways tied to border funding. Reports are this morning that a bipartisan group of senators met late into the night last night, trying to hammer out a deal before the Senate leaves. I think you're scheduled to leave today, but it may be tomorrow from something else I read. But I tell you what, Senator, if you don't mind, there's a lot of people, including me, who really don't understand this combination of Ukraine and the border and funding and all that. Can you just give us a little explainer on that, please?
Yeah, sure. What Chuck Schumer had said was he wanted a supplemental, a defense supplemental appropriation. And this would cover Ukraine, Taiwan, the U.S. And Israel, and border money to help with resettling of refugees. And these are all separate issues, and each needs to be discussed separately. So we said, no, there will be no funding for Ukraine until we look at border security and what we're going to do to reform asylum law and the Remain in Mexico policy, put that back in place, because right now we have as many as 12,000 people per day coming to the southern border trying to get entry into the U.S. illegally. And see, this administration has done a lot of work trying to make things that are illegal legal. And a great example of that is what they're doing at our nation's southern border and the people that are just streaming over that border. The month of October alone, you had 2,000 Chinese, you had over 100 Russians, you had dozens of Iranians and Pakistanis and Afghans, and they're coming into the country illegally. You have thousands of people from countries of interest. These are countries where there is terrorism, dictators, people that do not wish us well, people that would like to take us down. And we are saying, do not let them in at all. We've got 279 terrorists that have come in under Joe Biden's watch. In 2020, under President Donald Trump, we had 0. 2019, under President Donald Trump, we had 0. So, and now we've had 279. Do you think these people are coming in this country to go to Disney World and then to go get a job? No, they're not. And this is why we have to shut down that southern border.
All right, we are joined by Senator Marsha Blackburn of the Volunteer State, live from the nation's capital this morning on what will be one of the final days of the session until January. I want to move to Israel now and the very latest there, but we have a report this morning. Axios they're calling it a breaking story, but says that Vice President Harris has been telling colleagues in the Biden administration that she wants the White House to show more concern about the humanitarian damage in Gaza. President Biden called on Benjamin Netanyahu earlier this week to basically change his tactics. What do you make of that? And then also, Senator, I know you're privy to a lot of information that the general public is not. What can you tell us about the situation in Israel, where it stands this morning?
We are very concerned to learn that Jake Sullivan is going to go over there and try to talk with Netanyahu and get them to change the way they're going about defending themselves. Look, if we had had nations around the world coming to us after 9/11 and saying, well, you can't do this and you can't do that and you can't go after Saddam Hussein, and we would not have wanted them trying to micromanage how we defended ourselves. And I think that it's not appropriate that we try to micromanage how Israel is going to handle this. So we should make certain that Israel has what they need to defend themselves. And we have passed legislation out of the House, or the House has passed legislation. They have sent it to the Senate. We have twice, my colleague Roger Marshall, Congressman Marshall out of Kansas, and I have gone twice to the floor to try to get unanimous consent on funding Israel. The Democrats have objected. So today, I'm going to give them another chance to vote to fund Israel. And they keep saying, well, we don't want to take the money away from the IRS. This is the money for the 87,000 IRS agents that they want to put in place to come beat up on small businesses. And so we're going to say, okay, let's just do it plain. No pay for. Let's get Israel the money they need to defend themselves, to replenish the Iron Dome, to get the munitions they need, money to defend our embassy in Jerusalem that has Americans that are in our foreign service that are working there in that embassy. They're not even doing that. So it is imperative that we change our approach on this and that we make certain that Israel has what they need.
Certainly so. Senator Blackburn, just a few minutes left. I do want to talk about something. Senator Dick Durbin of Illinois, you had fact-checked him regarding, you have called for the release of the Jeffrey Epstein flight logs. Tell me about that.
Oh, yes. This is in response to Dick Durbin's work to try to delegitimize the U.S. Supreme Court and to go after Justices Thomas and Alito. He was subpoenaing two private citizens, Harlan Crow out of Texas and Leonard Leo. And we met. It was the day we were to discuss these subpoenas. And I said, well, if we're going to subpoena people, I've got a couple of subpoenas that I want. And, of course, the first one was to get the flight logs for Jeffrey Epstein. Now, a lot of your listeners are very concerned about what's happening with human trafficking and sex trafficking. I am also. I've done quite a bit of legislation to protect women and girls and to make certain we go after these sex traffickers and drug traffickers. Well, after Dick Durbin called on me, then he said he would not have called on me if he knew what I was seeking recognition for, which was to explain the amendments that I was going to offer later in that hearing. Subsequently, he adjourned the hearing. That was on November 9th. Then on November 30th, we reassemble again as a committee to look at these subpoenas, and I'm to be the first one to offer amendments. He calls up his legislation to subpoena Crow and Leo, and then he does not allow Republicans to offer their amendments, mine, of course, being the Epstein flight logs and the first one to be offered. So I don't know who he's protecting, why he is doing it, but they don't want to get to the bottom of this Jeffrey Epstein sex trafficking business, which the more we learn, and what we learned from the Ghislaine Maxwell trial, and the more we learn about this, it appears that it was an international sex trafficking ring, and that it involved high-profile, high-dollar predators.
All right, Senator Marsha Blackburn. Okay, so let's. We've been really serious. There's a lot of serious things happening, but I got to ask you this, and I've got to ask you your go-to Christmas recipe. Now you're known for your cooking, and I must say I was a little envious, a little jealous. I saw a Chattanooga reporter in your home kitchen. I mean, what does it take to get that invitation?
Well, just talk to my team and come on down.
Oh, there we go. All right, so what is it?
Yeah, a go-to for me, the favorite dessert of the grandkids, and it's good and simple. I make a good, gooey, chewy chocolate brownie, and then I top it with a scoop of peppermint ice cream. And, of course, having a granddaughter, it has to be pink peppermint, not mint chocolate chip. Pink peppermint ice cream. And then I top that with hot fudge, and I finish it off with real whipped cream.
Oh, doctor, that sounds wonderful. I'm going to tell your friend Scotty Mayfield it's definitely Mayfield Ice Cream in Athens, Tennessee. How about that?
You got that right. I tell you what, those ice cream sandwiches are about my favorite thing on the face of the earth.
There you go. Well,
Yeah.
Hey, Senator, thank you very much. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and I appreciate your time this morning.
You got it. Take care, my friend. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. So Bridget had just hit me. What she needs to be doing there in the United States Senate is just getting Mayfield ice cream sandwiches and just, throwing them around to the Senators.
There you go.
And then we got something.
Yes.
I mean, everybody's going to cross the aisle for some Mayfield ice cream. All right, so we've just solved it. All right, back in a second here, about 7 seconds, then we'll check the streets.
This news update brought to you by Cleveland Plywood Company, 2700 20th Street Northeast in Cleveland.
Good morning. Let's get a check of traffic here. This Don Ledford Cleveland Mixed Highway Patrol report is brought to you by Don Ledford in Cleveland. They are your exclusive home of Chevrolet, Buick, and GMC, located on Northley Highway, and anytime at donledford.com. We have no reports of any accidents this morning. Drive safely out there. If you see a traffic problem, give us a call. The volunteer Ridipest mix line is 614-6499. You can also text us at that same number on the Sell with Darren text line. That's Darren Miller, eXp Realty. This traffic report is brought to you by Southland Finance. If you need extra cash for the holidays, call Dusty and the team at Southland Finance, 950 25th Street in Cleveland, in front of Ace Hardware. Call them at 423-458-3007, online at southlandfinance.net.
Hey, don't forget, today's our 14 Days of Christmas. Day number 5 is Posh Nails in the spotlight, a $100 gift card to Posh Nails. Thanks to Rick K. with everybody at Posh Nails. And, of course, the only reason we would ever thank him is because he's given us something. If you want to win, call or text 423-614-6499. What we do is we give you a full day on this and then come back the next morning and announce a winner. $100 at Posh Nails, our gift today.